As to regard the food supply situation, I look after the food deficit households, and we are right now distributing food to households which are in deficit based on the agricultural production season of 2022-2023. That's what we are doing right now. In any year, even when we have bumper harvest, which we had last year, we have some households which are food insecure. And our studies that were done by the Food and Nutrition Council last year indicated that we still had 2.7 million people who were food insecure in many households. So we mapped and say which provinces are food insecure, and we gave them percentages of the households and the people who were food insecure by percentage. We disaggregated it to districts and further disaggregated it to wards. As you know, we have 1,000, at that time we had 1,957 wards, which have increased to 1,970 wards. And of those wards, excluding those in the urban area, because we have vulnerability assessment in the rural areas and in the urban areas. We are right now focusing in the rural areas, and we are saying that those who are food insecure, and we have given them percentages, we go there and further disaggregate it to villages headed by village heads, and we give a number to a village and say, in this village, for now, because of the percentages, you will only be able to give an X number of people, say 8. I was in one district last week and at a village, and they were told to give only to 8 people. And in another village, they were given more. So it differs from village to village. And one would be interested to say, how do you end up with 8 people, especially when people are looking at what is happening in the fields today. And they start forgetting that, we are doing the assessment for last year. We have not done the assessment for now. But the villagers, I was quite surprised. They were able to do their job and produced the 8 who they thought in their area were the most vulnerable. And when they were asked to say what happened to some, he said they were able to argue to say these 8 are the best in terms of vulnerability. But we now are explaining to the people to say, yes, there is an El Nino-induced drought. This El Nino-induced drought is what we are beginning to assess once all the figures that are required from the Ministry of Agriculture, once they finished all the figures and they start telling us our deficit, in-country deficit, given our strategic reserves, given what the private sector was buying and importing, what is the deficit that will need to be imported. But for us in social welfare, that's not the issue. The issue becomes, so how much food will we need going into this part, the second half of this year, into next year until April? That's what we are now beginning to work with, and whether and how we are going to make sure that these communities are going to get food. But we want to assure the nation that using this drought or this food insecure people right now, we are prepared, as the President has directed, that nobody will die from hunger, and that all the 35,000 villages are going to be assessed, and we will see what percentages need food because of this food insecure, the El Nino-induced food insecurity. We also are using this opportunity, working together with the Ministry of Agriculture, to say, going forward, as the Minister of Agriculture has said, there are 3 types of droughts. Drought that is El Nino-induced, and it causes food insecurity. There is food insecurity which is caused by us as government if we have a wrong policy. The wrong policy that we were doing of saying even in Region 5, we give presidential inputs and we give them maize to grow, when we know that the food, the growth of maize in some of the regions is absolutely impossible. So why would we have a policy of giving them seed that we know will be attacked by drought perennially? So we have now changed. That's why in some areas we give traditional grains. And even in this El Nino-induced drought, you will see that those who grew traditional grains, munga, mapunde, zuyo, they are doing better than those who grew maize. So that's the second induced food insecurity by policy making. The third one is a household who know that they have been given seed to grow these traditional grains, but they are so much with the appetite to grow maize, and they go and buy maize seeds. And the Minister of Agriculture says a whole family goes and buys hunger by going to buy seed maize, which they know in their area will not do well. And that education is beginning to sink in areas that we are now visiting. But the bottom line is we will finish the input that we are doing, we'll finish it in May, this 2.7, and we think that will ramp up, because going to June and going forward, all those who had good harvest will have run out because they were aiming that they will end up having a crop from this year season. So that's the preparation that we have.